There you go. That's better. Still early in the morning, so I haven't done my practice yet, but you get the idea. It's slap. It's slap guitar. A lot of people, I think, have the misconception that it's like, oh, it's all in the wrist. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not in the wrist. It's actually, if you hold down your forearm and try to rotate your just your wrist, you can't do it. And if you do rotate your wrist, you feel your bones moving around in your forearm, and that's because the torsional strength, the rotational strength of your arm actually comes from your forearm and not your wrist. Your wrist can do this. Up, down, left, right. Those are the only things it can do. The rotation comes from here. So, in like funk guitar, people say like, you gotta keep, like Corey Wong, right? Like he keeps his wrist and forward just noodly. Or whatever. But the forearm, you have to train to get that quick rotational thing. It's kind of like doing what you do with dribbling, like dribbling a basketball. Like imagine this is the ball, so you get the ball comes up, and then you have your hand here, and you kind of like push it down like that. But it's not like you're following through to the ground. You know what I mean? Like if this is the ball, it's kind of like you're following through to the ground, and that kind of makes it choke, right? Imagine like if you follow the basketball all the way to the ground, well, it has no place to spring back up, so it doesn't dribble. But so it's about kind of having that initial explosive strength up to around here, and then just letting go entirely. See, I'm exaggerating a bit, but like my hand is just really noodly, loosey goosey. So that's the important part about like slap, is that getting that sense of where to let go. That kind of thing, right? And obviously, it's easier said than done. I don't think you can do this initially. It took me a while. So, getting used to that forearm rotation, and, that down picking he does. I botched that one, but you know what I mean. It's like, it's almost like he's using a bouncing motion. Instead of like following through. Well, you can follow through with your bass too, or your guitar. That kind of thing. So you either you strike through the string. I'm not very good at that one. Or you spring back. Right? So you kind of have to, like, either you're following through or you're bouncing back. You have to let your hands be very loose, and you can't have it rigid. Like, a lot of people when they start out playing, they kind of do this crap, like, where, their wrist is just locked in, so it doesn't feel very good. If I had to, like, explain how it feels on, like, slap, it's kind of like, you're tensing up your wrist. You can't really... But it's all about keeping it loose and when to put strength in, and versus when to loosen up. And it takes a while to master, but it actually really helps. Also, it helps with kind of like with picking, because you're kind of minimizing the stress on your hand. You know. Well, anyway, that's like the first part of slap. Another part, I think, is the pluck. And that's something that's kind of hard to explain. I think it's kind of like you're almost digging in and then rotating out like this. So if you see it from the side, thumb, index, and then you rotate out. Like, the hard part is getting just enough of the string. I always use my channel here between the nail and the meat of your finger to kind of pluck, right? That seems to help me a lot. Well, if you played fingerstyle for any amount of time, it's kind of that kind of thing. You know, your acoustic picking, right? Not acoustic, like finger picking. You're just adding like this torsional energy, right? So instead of just strumming like this, you're pulling out, rotating. And this has two meanings. One is you get a more percussive pop because you're, you know, tension, release, right? But it also helps you reset your thumb. Whatever, but anyway, the third part of it is, I think, muting, with your left hand, like, if you played Gent for any time, you probably know what this is about. It's just that percussive, that kind of thing, right? Right? You just... Your left hand is just as much of a percussion thing as your right hand. I'm holding a pick now, but you can just apply this to that. I would just recommend doing, like, for a while, like, thumb, left, thumb, left, thumb, left, thumb, left. And you want, ideally, all of your fingers, like, kind of train like this, usually. Like, if you can see, I'm letting my, like, this kind of practice helps you train your fingers, especially your index, because it's kind of hard to get your index to do this kind of thing. Once you get that down, it's kind of, I don't know, there's a lot of things you can do, like hammering on out of nowhere, right? Hammer on out of nowhere is like a kind of one of those skills that is a bit weird to learn, but right, like if you can get that percussive sort of feel with all your fingers, I suggest to go through all your fingers, and like obviously getting that like hammer on out of nowhere will help you extra ghost notes to your, or even just not ghost notes, just your right hand. And I think those are the three things I can think of for now. I might add some more stuff if I think about anything good to say, but that's basically it. So I'll try to figure out that whatever the my favorite chord video a little later, but yeah, just a quick dirty lesson from your Uncle Soy.